So you want on a campground Halloween prep film tube. Another one of our stations will be this. I think it's going to be up. It'll be up high. Maybe when it comes down, it'll be maybe head height. I was just testing it here, but it has a drop mechanism and it's on infrared. So what's going to happen is somebody will walk by. Why is it? Did I not turn it on? Damn it. It'll drop down, you know, sort of beside them, and it raises back up. So nobody has to sit there and man this station. So that's something else I can do that doesn't take people. But like I said, you never know how much help you'll have. So hopefully that'll work. Sometimes things go bad, they don't work. You know, they start working, then they stop halfway through. But you can only do what you can do. Because I've had problems with foot pads before. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I'll show you one of those later on. Okay, hopefully this works. So this is an Air Zuka. It's missing it's got a sight thing on the top. They're not that good anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But has a spring-loaded thing in the back and a hole in the front handle. Pretty much all there is to it. We have a couple of these that we have too, and so if you'll watch those leaves, how far you can see. I'll do it a few times. Can you see that? So if you're walking down the trail, if you're walking down the trail in the dark and that thing hits you, now you may hear it, or you probably will, but still the air hitting you, you're like, oh, what was that kind of thing. So we'll have a couple of these out, and that somebody can, like, you know, when I showed you that other last week, that thing, they can operate that and this maybe. You know what I'm saying? So they can do two or three different things at one time. So I don't have to have as many people. So one of the other little things I do is we had this water pipe on site, and I had a bunch of it and I wasn't going to use anymore. So I cut it into lengths. That's about 8 inches long, and I'll show you I think that's too long. Probably about 4 or 5 is plenty. And I bit this wire, just had this little scrap wire, and I can hang that on a tree limb. It pops. It pops out. So you can just hook it around and hook it right back in, and it just stays. And what I do is I drill 2 holes in it for eyeballs. And so they just hang up there, and I stick a glow stick in them, and they just sort of glow. Now the reason I'm going to cut them down smaller is most glow sticks you get, unless you go get the really big ones and they cost more, are, wait a second, this length, okay? So I'm going to cut these down I don't have enough hands. I cut these down to this length, and those fit in there a lot better. Hold a second. Somebody's gonna complain about my filming technique, and that's okay too. And then that way they're smaller, and the glow stick is more centered and glows the eyes better. It's out here, it's in the sun, so you can't really see as well. And these are like a year or two old. I don't know if they fade over time. It doesn't seem to be as bright as they used to. I bought some new ones this year, but we'll use these till they run out. They only have to last an hour or so. So anyway, I took a video of them in the dark, and you'll see that in a second. But anyway, so that's a little cheap thing you can do that, you know, gives a little something to look at out in the woods as you're walking, you know. So this is the finished product, what it sort of looked like hanging in the woods. You'd see these 2 eyeballs looking at you. I hang them in trees and wherever, on bark. Just, they're not very heavy. It doesn't take a whole lot to hold them up there. Just bust a glow stick before you start and cram them in there, and you're good to go for the night. And then I'll normally leave these hanging out and just go throw the glow sticks away and put new ones in the next week. I have different colors, but anyway, just something that sort of puts you in the mood, walking around, seeing eyes looking at you. Something else we can have like one person operate, maybe multiple things. All it takes here is just a string. You pull her back and let her swing every so often. You have to, put some lights on it. So they have swing mechanisms, but I can do that with a string. I don't have to go and spend that kind of money. So anyway, that's probably all we'll show this time. But like I said, ways of getting more bang for your buck when you don't have enough people.